Hey guys, welcome. Today's practice is designed to be an evening wind down, something that'll take you from that busier, more active part of the day and just help you start to transition into a little bit quieter place. So you can do it at night, but you can really do it, I guess, anytime that you need to make a little bit more of that transition. If you have blocks and a blanket nearby, grab those or anything to use for that. We will start standing at the front of our mats. And you can just start with feet hip width apart. Sometimes that feels a little more stable to begin. Bring your hands by your sides. Turn your palms forward to open your chest. Take your gaze forward, but then soften a little bit through your gaze. Right? And if your mind's going pretty quickly before we make that transition, it might feel better just to soften your eyes and not close them all the way, right? So that the idea being here is we're going to meet our bodies, our mind, our breath where it's at to begin, right? And let it slowly begin to make that transition into a little bit more settled, a little bit quieter space. And so let yourself root down strongly through your feet and just start to feel that connection. We'll do some things in the practice today to keep us a little bit more grounded. And starting to move closer down to the earth and just start to move the energy in that direction. But as you begin, all that energy might still be swirling around up in your head. And just notice where thoughts are at. And take a moment to notice where your breath is at. Don't force it, don't make it change, just pay attention to it. And we'll start to move a little bit here with the breath to begin. And as we slow down the movement to help then slow down the breath. And just take one more full round of breath here. Root through your feet, stand tall. And with your next inhale, reach both arms up overhead. And exhale, hinge, fold forward, bend knees here if that feels better. Okay. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Bring hands somewhere for support. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, root through your feet, reach up. Exhale, hands together at your heart, right? Slow movement's going to help us slow down the breath. Reach up, inhale. Right, not to where you're forcing it, just where you can guide it in that direction. Exhale, fold. Lift halfway, inhale. Really root through your feet as you stretch out through the top of your head. Exhale, fold. Follow your breath. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. You can keep eyes soft to start to bring the attention inside to body and breath moving together. Reach up, inhale. Hinge, fold forward, exhale again. Bent knees or straight legs. Lift halfway, take a breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Good. See how the breath feels now. Reach up, inhale. Hinge, fold forward, exhale. Lift halfway, take a breath in. Exhale, fold. Let's do one more. Root down, inhale, come all the way up. Hands together at your heart, exhale. Okay, now we'll add on, reach up, hinge, fold forward. Strong legs lift halfway, take a breath in. Exhale, fold. This time step your left foot back, low lunge. Walk your hands back to frame your front foot. You can use blocks here underneath your hands if that feels really nice for a little extra length in your arms. And give a little squeeze of your inner legs. And find some support through your low belly. So it feels like you're not just letting it rest on the thigh, that there's some active engagement. And press your left heel back, stretch the crown of your head forward. And take a nice full breath in. With your exhale, bring your front leg to or towards straight, fold forward, let your head get heavy. And slow movement, slow breath. Inhale, come forward, bend your front knee. And then exhale, straighten, fold. Right, so a little movement to settle from the activity of the day. We're not dropping right into stillness. Inhale, come forward, bend your knee. And then exhale, come back, straighten. And you can walk your hands back a little bit, find the right amount of forward fold, and just take a couple of breaths. I know for myself, sometimes when I try and drop right away from a busy day and moving around right into stillness, my body resists, my mind definitely resists, and the breath kind of doesn't know what to do. So a little movement with breath just to get us settled, and then we'll start to slow it down a little more. And come forward, inhale, walk your hands forward, this time step back, down dog. And take a few breaths here in your first down dog. If it feels good to settle into stillness, if that helps you to find your anchor, do that. If a little movement or pedal of the legs would be helpful, do that. Listen to what your body needs, what your breath needs. I do invite you to keep the movement if you're taking that a little slower and to match with your breath. And so breath starts to guide the body, body starts to guide the breath, and both eventually will slow down. And then that helps to get the thoughts to come with it. Okay, left leg up, inhale. Step all the way through, exhale. Good. Set up that nice long, low lunge. And step on the ball of your back foot, hands to blocks or mat. Sometimes even fists feels good for a little support. And squeeze your inner legs. And find that tone through your low belly so there's support. Press your right heel back, stretch the top of your head forward. And take a full breath in. And then just move with your breath. Exhale, bring your front leg to or towards straight, right? Might have a little bend in it if that's what the back body's saying to do. Inhale, come forward, bend your knee. And then exhale, side back, straighten, fold. With your inhale, come forward, bend your front knee. As you do that, stretch the top of your head forward. And then hinge, fold in. You can keep your hands forward, walk them back a little bit. And keep the support in your legs, but let your upper body fold in. Notice what the breath is doing now. Is it already starting to shift? Sometimes it just takes a few moments, a little movement to settle into that rhythm. Good. Inhale, come forward, bend your front knee, take a big step forward. Exhale, fold. Lift halfway, take a breath in. And exhale, fold. Root through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Good. Sweep up, inhale. Long spine, hinge, fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step your right foot back. This time, turn your feet to pivot towards the long end of your mat. So we're in wide-legged forward fold. And then take a couple breaths, just fold in. Knees might be a little bent. Root down through your feet. You start to really feel that connection to the ground. Right, the idea being we're starting to move that energy, that attention from the head, where we spend so much time, and just let it start to settle down. Okay, with your next inhale, lift halfway. Walk your hands forward underneath your shoulders. We're going to set up for a twist here, so if a block right at the center would feel good, do that. And so bring your left hand to the center of your mat, and that might be on a block or to your mat. Well, underneath your shoulder, yeah, and then right hand to your hip. Press down strongly from your hips to your feet and lengthen your spine. So just think halfway lift here. And then keep that length, pivot, twist to your right. Okay, and you can do a couple things here. Sometimes it feels really good to keep the pelvis level and get more twist through your upper body. If it's feeling like the hips want a little bit of movement here, let them go with it. And then you can keep your hand to your hip or reach your top arm up. Wherever you're at, stay rooted. Feel that connection to your feet first. Maintain a long spine. And then spread out wide through your arms, open up through your chest. And inhale, unwind. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Switch out your hands. So right hand to the center, left hand to your hip. Press down into your feet, lengthen your spine. And just line your hand up so it's underneath your shoulder. Good. And then twist to your left. And same thing, you might keep the pelvis level here. And then you're likely going to feel that a little bit more in your upper body. Right? If that feels like it's causing any pressure on the low back, let the right hip dip with the twist a little bit. We often try and level the hips, but it doesn't mean it's right or wrong, just a different way to practice. And then you can keep hand to hip or reach your arm up. And just keep coming back to that connection down to your feet. Lengthen your spine. And then rotate, find a little space, open up through your chest, but that all comes first from the connection down to your mat. Good. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands to your hips, root down through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And then turn your left toes forward, slide your right heel back a little bit. Bring your arms out wide, take a breath in. And exhale, hinge, fold forward, triangle pose. Another great place for the block if you want it. Or bring your hand to your shin. And feel that connection down to the ground first. And so squeeze your heels towards one another. And then press down from hips to feet. And from that connection, then find a little space through the chest and open up. But make sure that the root, the groundedness comes first. And start to slow down, hold the pose a little bit longer. And just notice what that does for breath. And then press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And then just pivot to the back of your mat. So right toes back, or right toes towards the back, and then slide your left heel back. Take a breath in, and then exhale, hinge, fold forward. Again, hand to shin, mat, or block. Sometimes there's this, I can reach the floor, and that's great, but then the upper body suffers because of it. Sometimes a little extra support is nice, even if you can get there. And so feet again, squeeze heels in, root down, and then open up. And as you drop right into that, notice the breath. And as you keep awareness on what your breath is doing, does that help maybe to settle and anchor the mind a little bit? And to start to slow things down, breath by breath. Good. Root through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Pivot your feet to the long end of your mat again. Reach both arms up. Take a breath in. And exhale, fold forward. And then again, inhale, lift halfway, walk your hands forward. This time as you exhale, bend into your left knee. So side lunge here, right? Knee bent, feet pointing straight forward. Or bend your knee a little bit more, come down, skandasana, and point your right toes up towards the ceiling. Okay? Just see how it feels for hips, knees, ankles, all that. And go ahead this time, just keep your hands or your fingertips down to the mat. Let yourself feel a little bit more supported. And keep the legs active as you press down into those points of contact. And with your next inhale, come through center. And exhale, bend into the right. So again, you're either side lunge here, and it might be different side to side, especially if you've had knee stuff, or come down skandasana. And let yourself start to feel that sensation of just getting lower to the ground. And settling into the hips and the legs and the feet. Good. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, bend into your left, right? Same side lunge or skandasana. Hold for a breath. And come through center. Inhale, bend into your right. Exhale. Hold for a breath. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, fold forward. And you can take your hands back now by your feet. Take a hold of ankles if that feels good. Here in wide-legged forward fold. Strong legs as you press down. And then just let your head get really heavy. It might even feel good to give it a little shake out. Yes or no. Just start to release any of that tension through head, neck, and shoulders. And then next, inhale, come forward halfway. Exhale, walk your hands to the front of your mat. Step back, down dog. Take a full round of breath in down dog. With your next inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, step all the way through. Okay, bring your left knee down. Bring both hands inside of your front foot and take your right foot out just a little bit wider. And so we're going to take this lizard lunge in a couple different variations. So I invite you here to stay with right toes straight forward, up on palms, or come down onto forearms here if it feels like you have that range of motion. Forearms on block sometimes is great. But find the support from your legs as you squeeze your front heel towards your back knee. And a gentle tone through your belly, not so that it's rigid, just supportive. And let the hips start to settle down, feeling like you're letting go to gravity with that gentle tone. Right? So a release, but not a collapse. And if you came down onto your forearms, come back up. And then as you exhale, straighten your front leg, walk your hands back, Ardha Hanuman. And you can keep this little bit of an angle if the right leg's out to the side and both hands inside. Sometimes just gives it a little different sensation on the back of the leg. It might feel good to just slide your heel forward a little bit, give it a little more space. Again, blocks, always a great option here. And flex your right foot. Press down into your heel and traction it back. And you can keep your upper body a little bit more supported or let it start to fold in. And with your next inhale, bend your front knee, come forward again. This time, turn your right toes out to the right, just a couple inches, and bring your right hand to your thigh or your knee. You can find that squeeze of your legs together, a little tone through your belly. And then a couple options here, right? Stay here if this feels like this is plenty for the back thigh and the hip, and the twist is good. Or bend your left leg, circle back around, take a hold of your foot. And then the last option here is either stay up on your left hand or come down onto your forearm. Right. Wherever you're at, soften through your gaze. Bring your attention to your breath. And see if you can find that place in your body where there's a softening without a collapse. Good. Slowly, without slingshotting the back leg, release. Circle your hands down. Lift your back knee, step back, down dog. Full breath in. Big breath out. And left leg up, inhale. Step all the way through, exhale. And right knee down. And take your left foot out a little bit wider, but keep your toes pointing straight forward for this first round. Bring both hands inside your foot. And then again, up on palms or down on forearms. Sometimes just one forearm is good. Squeeze your legs to midline. A little bit of support through your belly, and then let things start to soften without just letting that go. Sometimes it's a tricky balance to find, where there's enough support without gripping, and enough softness without collapsing. And come on back up. Straighten your front leg in that direction. And then you may even wiggle the left heel forward a little bit more. Flex your foot, press down into your heel, give it a little traction back. That's that nice series to get the hamstrings to turn on for support. And hands to mat, hands to blocks. They may walk forward a little bit more if that range of motion feels good, or you may stay fairly upright within the forward fold. And then next, inhale, come forward, bend your front knee. Good, now turn your left toes out towards the left edge of your mat a couple of inches. Keep your right hand down, bring left hand to knee or thigh. Hug legs in. And support through your low belly and twist. And then same, you either stay here or bend the back leg, reach back. And stay up on your right hand or come down onto your forearm. And play a little, find the right place for you. And then we just settle in for a few breaths. And pace of breath. You may notice it's gotten a little slower or a little longer. Maybe. It's a transition, right, from activity into quieter space. And release the back foot. Unwind, come back to center. Lift your back knee. This time take a big step forward to the front of your mat. Good. And then take your feet hip width apart. Take a good bend into your knees. And then take your peace sign fingers, so your index and middle fingers, wrap them around your big toes. Spread your elbows out towards the sides and let the top of your head get heavy. And then you can keep knees really bent. That might be the right place to be. You can start to bring legs a little straighter. But keep the legs active as you press into your feet. Squeeze your kneecaps up and hug your inner legs to center. And then roll the upper inner thighs back and wide. All right, so slow doesn't mean passive. You guys who practice with me know that. It just means we're starting to invite body and breath and mind into a quieter place, but that there's strength and support. And take a couple breaths here, heavy through your head. And if it feels good again, like that wide-legged forward fold, to let the head and neck move around a little bit, do that. And then release your hands, lift halfway, take a breath in. Walk your feet out a little bit wider, turn the toes out an inch or two, settle your hips down to squat. And this could be a great place if you want more support under the hips to grab a block or two blocks, whatever height feels good for that, or even to slide a blanket underneath your heels. Bring your hands together at your heart. Give a little squeeze in inner thighs to outer shoulders and lift your heart up towards your hands. Soften through your gaze. Good. And then from here, bring your left hand out at a diagonal in front of your left knee. Reach your right arm up to twist. Just can be really nice and balancing for the body and the energy as well. We're getting that yang, the dynamic energy, and the yin to come back to center. And then bring hands back to center. Take a breath in. And then right arm out in front, right, diagonal up from the knee, left arm up. And keep that squeeze of your inner leg so it still feels like energy moving into center. And then you can lift, expand out from there. Good. Next, inhale, unwind, bring hands back to center. Stay for your exhale. Let your hips settle low, even as your heart lifts up to your hands. And with your next exhale, bring your hands down. Take your hands behind you. Come all the way down to a seat. Okay, we're going to set up for a couple forward folds. So if you want to have support of your blanket, pillow, something to sit on, grab that. Stretch your legs out in front. And just sit so you're right on the edge of that support. You can move the flesh out from under your sitting bones. Right, and then take your right heel out just about 8 inches towards the side and bring your left foot in. Okay, anchor through your seat, reach both arms up. And then exhale, hinge towards your right and start to fold forward. And wherever that stopping point is, bring your hands down if that's just a little bit, if that's further forward. Right, and if you're folded forward far enough, you can take your left hand to your outer right foot and either keep right hand for support or cross your wrists and take a hold of the inner edge of your foot. And just like we did before with feet, take a moment to really bring your attention back to your seat. And feel your sitting bones, feel the anchor. And keep your legs strong as you press down into those points of contact. So whatever's touching the mat, press back down into it. And then let your upper body soften and fold. And see if you can let the breath slow down even just a little bit more here. And then walk yourself all the way back up. And switch sides. Right, so do the same. You take left foot out about 6 inches from center, 8 inches maybe. So it's not a super wide leg, but it's going to give us that little bit of a twist with a forward fold here in Janu Shirshasana. And so both arms up, inhale, and then draw your left ribs back. Hinge, fold forward. So keep your spine long as you fold and reach. Then bring your hands down when it's time for support, right? Or take hands to feet. See what works best on this side. You can even do this little adjustment back out just a hair, roll your right ribs down, and then fold in. So we're getting the benefits of the twist and the balance there, along with the forward fold. And flex your left foot. Press down again into those points of contact. So even in the fold, there's a lot of strength and support in the legs. Then let your upper body soften, fold forward. And stay connected back and down to the anchor of your seat. And then walk yourself all the way back up. And bring both legs straight forward. Flex your feet. Roll your inner thighs down. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale again, long spine as you fold forward, reach, and then bring your hands down when you hit that stopping point, right? Listen to it, no need to push past it. You can come to that edge and know that with a little breath and a little time, the body will soften, usually. But go ahead, flex your feet back and keep pressing down into your heels as you stretch the top of your head forward. And go ahead, once you've gotten in there and found the length, to just let your back round. Your chin move towards your chest. Feel your breath move. And get this quieter space of the forward fold. It's an effort to really wind down from the day. Take a few more full breaths there. Walk yourself back up. Help your knees in. Come all the way down onto your back and have your block or a pillow or two nearby. We're going to set up for supported legs up the wall. So with your block or a couple pillows, just to slide something in underneath your hips. And if you have a regular wall right there and want to use that, if that's easily accessible, do that. When you're ready, bring your knees in, stretch your legs up, and just wiggle the block around enough until it feels like you find that place where there's good support, right? That there's not a lot of effort in the legs. Bring your arms wherever they're comfortable. And then just soften or close through your eyes. Feel the back of your head get heavy and drop back. Let the shoulders soften. And feel your breath now. There's something about this pose I love as such a great transition. Whether it's at the end of the day or sometimes just even a break in the middle of the day when I know I need things to settle. In these last few moments that we stay here, I'm going to invite you to take just a little bit longer exhale. It doesn't have to be a huge shift that might even feel more like just really emptying the air out. But just start to slightly make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. It gives the mind something to do, a focus point. And the exhale breath can stimulate our rest and digest nervous system, right? The parasympathetic. And start to get that wind down from the day. And then just take a few more breaths. Right, this is going to be in place of our regular Shavasana today. So if you have longer and you want to stay, you do that. If it feels like you'd still really like a few minutes in Shavasana, you can do that. I also want to honor the time frame that you chose. So stay if you'd like. If you're ready, bend your knees, place your feet, lift your hips to slide your block out. And then just slowly let the transition be really mindful as you come out. Roll to your side. Take 2 full breaths there. No hurry. Enjoy the space in body and mind and breath that you took the time to create. And then come all the way back up. Find a comfortable cross-legged seat. Bring your hands together at your heart. Sit tall. Bow head to heart. Thank you so much for sharing the practice. I hope that it was beneficial in starting to make that transition into the quieter space of the day. Namaste.